Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. We are a recovery-based podcast. My name is Sean and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our videos will still be posted each week, so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. What do we do to that like button, Corey? We smash it.
Don't
smash
touch
that
it.
like button.
Don't even touch it.
We
Don't
smash that
play with
like
it.
button. Just
If
like
you touch
Brandon
it twice,
Davies.
you're playing with it. Sorry,
That's a
guys.
good point. That's a very good point. Remember, you can subscribe on all our social media outlets with the handle at Trudge Report Pod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Gentlemen, good evening. Happy recording day. We start where we always start in the great Midwest. Mr. G.A. Phillips, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, gents. I am surviving after a rough weekend for Ohio sports. So
Indeed.
A lot of doom and gloom over here these days. Cavs lost, Bucks lost, Browns are terrible, and we know that already. But yeah, dude, rough week for Ohio sports. So weekend, I should say. But other than that, things are going well. Finally, a few days too late here. I'm sure Corey's going to be in an absolute uproar about it. But we finally got everything decked out as far as the Christmas tree and the decorations and all that up. Kind of crazy. I sent a pic to Janine, so she might superimpose it up for our video watchers. But I got a bunch of stuff from my parents' house when they were moving and selling their house, and in one of those boxes is my grandmother's old Santa Claus. It's about like 3 feet tall, and it is legitimately survived since 1947. And this thing is, I'm starting to call it Satan Claus because this is
thing's evil looking.
It may very well be possessed. So we're not sure yet. But this bad boy's been eyeballing me all day, and so we stuck him in the corner. Stuck him next to a little, in the picture here, he kind of looks like a homeless man, a street dweller, if you will. Warming his hands by the fire. So, so hopefully you guys can share in my holiday spirit or misery, depending on how you look at the situation. But there it is.
Yeah, that thing's it's
scary, man.
If nothing else, it's severely sunburnt.
Yes, indeed.
It's just, I don't know. I was at a detox tonight, bringing in a meeting, and I'm sure that they have an open bed for that thing.
Yeah, it's got the full alcoholism red face going on.
Wow.
Boy,
he's just pissed because somebody skipped him in the med line.
All right.
Yeah. You fucking wait your turn.
Good stuff. Danny P.
What's up, fellas? We had a busy week, bunch of work, and then I left Thursday to drive out to Connecticut and did actually a job out in Connecticut. And me and my boy went to the UConn game Friday night. You got to high five Mr. Dan Hurley. Got a picture with Mr. Caravan, and
yeah, cool pictures.
Yeah, dude, it was an unreal experience, man. I never sat that close on the floor in my life, and it was really just a ultra awesome experience.
Yeah, it looked sweet.
Yeah, those were really, really cool pictures of Alex Caravan and that whole thing.
Let's try to get everything done before Christmas so we can take a bunch of time off. But otherwise, everyone's good. Everything's good.
Good stuff, Danny. Good stuff. Hi, Corey. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm good, Sean. Do you want to tell everybody that I was almost a hero on Friday?
Corey almost single-handedly stopped a domestic terrorist on Friday, yes.
Yeah,
I forgot about that picture.
Almost single-handedly. If it wasn't for the Martin County Sheriffs and the Stewart Police and the FBI that got there first, Corey surely would have stepped in.
I was so ready. So for our listeners, like you could look it up, but at the city of Stewart, which is not an undisclosed location at this point, but it's the city of Stewart's Christmas parade, annual Christmas parade, 64th annual.
64th, I might add. That's a lot of years.
Been going a while. Congressman Brian Mast typically attends it and is either walking or I think this year he was on a
tripod. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sidecar stuffed with tent, blankets, and 3 huge volumes of financial reference services.
I don't know what you're referring to there, Sean, but he was in the parade, and I guess his personnel, along with the sheriff and Stewart police, like noticed a suspicious person that was may or may not have been following the congressman.
At first,
And,
they thought it was Kevin Kasani, but then we realized he was fine.
No, I had Kevin locked in. He was next to me. We made sure he didn't get anywhere. So yeah, they ended up like apprehending him, and he was found with a firearm and a bulletproof vest and a knife, I think. Okay, and like he like suspicious clothing and whatever. But like,
yeah,
okay.
he had like 3 layers of clothing on. He was masked up, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't cold out.
No, not cold out. And he, yeah, the jacket, whatever. I guess they couldn't keep him. They couldn't arrest him based on that because apparently possessing a bulletproof vest is not illegal, nor the firearm was legal, I guess. So
yeah, he had a concealed carry.
Well, it's a constitutional carry state, so as long as you're allowed to possess a firearm, you can carry it, I think. But anyway, I'm just like, okay, so listen, guys. Okay, I got a charge on my rap sheet. It's called loitering with intent to use or obtain drugs, which basically means I was hanging out thinking about using drugs, and they couldn't fucking arrest this guy and keep him. Like, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that's a long story. Short, but I could have stopped him.
Definitely. Dude, here's the thing, though, is if the feds were involved and they cleared him and let him walk, then obviously the guy was somewhat harmless, I would think.
Or they're going to watch him.
Yeah. I tell you what, I remember I was at the parade as well. My shout out to my daughter, Sophia. She was in the parade. She was awesome. She loved it. She had so much fun. And I remember before I was even standing with Corey, like the police were just walking up and down the street and they had their rifles strapped across their chest. And I remember thinking like, geez, I feel like that's like a little overboard maybe for like a Christmas parade, but apparently not. And I'm really glad that they all did their jobs and caught this dude and detained him and all that because that could have been bad real quick.
They're strapped up like that even when the congressman's not there. Yeah, it's just the large crowd and
Yeah, I mean? No, it makes sense.
But you know, Florida. before we move on, can we just envision me being a hero and tackling that guy to the ground and probably roughing up his face?
Sure. Yeah.
No, you could sneak those little hands in right in his bulletproof vest.
You could poke his eyes out.
Yeah.
Dude, not poke his eyes out. Listen, these things are like bee stings, okay? And they're coming at you fast.
He's got no EpiPen.
1,000 little bee stings.
Hey, Sean, on another note real quick.
Yeah.
We did this a little bit last year. I forget what we're talking about tonight, kind of. Not really. I remember the main topic, but I don't think we set any type of holiday anything. Can we just quickly discuss real quick? Like I said, we did it last year, but can we all just name like our top Christmas movie fast? Say we talked about Christmas right off the top of our dome. Favorite Christmas movie.
Sure, go first.
All right, well, fine. It's between.
I'm a big Santa Claus fan. I love all the Santa Claus movies. That's a huge fan. Allen. Yeah.
Christmas Story, man.
No, I can't do Christmas Story.
Yeah, it's childhood, man.
It's like the song "Don't Stop Believing" from Journey. It's so played out.
Oh,
so played out.
Wow,
that song is so played out.
It's not the best Fair. Journey song.
It's not.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's played out. Just like Christmas Story isn't the best Christmas movie. It's a good one, but it's so played out.
It's childhood, man. That's all that was ever on every single year. First 14 years of life.
With the flagpole.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah. That's good. What about Greg?
I'm going to say Home Alone 2. Way better than Home Alone 1.
Is that because the Donald's in it?
It's just it's a superior film. It's a superior film.
The best film ever.
And it's people right. Have said. It's down the hall and to the left. So, Die Hard, Batman Returns, and a brand new entry, Terrifier 3. Thank you.
I don't even.
That's such a cop out. Those are such cop outs.
Nope.
Such cop outs. Christmas.
All right, you want the like real like heartfelt?
Yeah, the cheesy ones, Gregory.
Yeah, the cheesy ones. Okay, so Home Alone 2, Jingle All the Way with
love that movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, dude, I got to go Christmas Story. I got to keep it local, Cleveland. Love it.
Oh yeah,
Classic.
that's right.
Yep.
Such a homer. What about you, Danny?
He said
Christmas Story. That's
Oh,
yeah,
you said it,
I'm
right.
on- yeah.
Janine says Bad Santa.
That is a
Bad
good one.
Santa's a great flick.
That's a great film. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys, it's between two for me. It's Annabelle's Wish, which Greg knows my thing about Annabelle, dude. Not the
Is that-
doll, the cow.
Okay, not the doll. So that's not a horror movie.
Annabelle's Wish is not a horror movie.
Okay.
It is a 1997 classic cartoon, definitely designed for like 5-year-olds.
It's a classic cartoon that nobody's heard of except for Corey.
Yeah.
Why?
never heard of
Why
it.
is that a thing?
Yeah,
why
I've never
why are
heard of
people
that.
not watching?
I don't think I've
nobody's
ever heard of it.
Definitely
Somebody
not a
needs
Christmas movie.
I'm a Frosty,
it's a Christmas
Frosty
movie.
the Snowman cartoon, that old one, like the original.
Yeah.
I love that one.
It wasn't claymation. It's a, what is it?
It's like
Some
it's
weird
like
animation that they
It's
do.
like
It's not
crayons,
cartoon.
dude. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, that and the reindeer, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer one, same maker. Those are the
Yes.
classics.
Yes.
Nightmare Before
then-
Christmas. Anybody?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Those
But
movies freak me out. No, thank you,
Yeah, you're not a Tim Burton guy, are
dude. They freak me out. He's so weird.
It
you? You
is
don't like
so weird.
Beetlejuice.
It is wildly
No,
weird.
I don't like Beetlejuice either.
See,
I also don't
Beetlejuice
like
is a
mashed
classic.
potatoes.
I know that was. I heard that last. That was a hot
Mark
take.
Urich, if you start texting me about stuff that is classified information, that was scary, guys. I
When
was
when
like, oh my
Greg
god, he's listening on everything.
when Greg told me this, I was like, I might have to quit.
I didn't
was
say I
like,
don't like them. I want to be clear.
That's such a hot
I
take.
want to be well, Danny. It's white food. You like anything
I
white?
know. Yeah, you know it.
I want.
That was so
I want to be
racist.
clear. I didn't say I don't like them. I said they were overrated.
Yeah.
I want to
yeah.
be clear. There is a distinction there.
Mm.
Anyways,
Any-
moving on.
Anything
Sorry,
boring
Corey,
and
go ahead.
plain that's right up my alley.
I was gonna say, yeah, Annabelle's Wish or the Santa Claus. Tim Allen is Santa Claus for me. He's the
Yeah,
best.
I
he
love
is
those
good,
movies.
man. Yeah, he's
Those were good.
Do you guys have a worst?
Worst.
I don't know if I do actually.
I am my wife, and I think her entire side of the family might castrate me for this, but I'm not a fan of. So, all right, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't be. Let me not be so dramatic. Let me reel that back in. There are certain Christmas movies that, again, Christmas Story as well. I think they're just overplayed and overrated for me. Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh,
Good movie, but it's just I've seen it so many times. Elf, I love Elf. I love Will Ferrell, but I've just seen it so many times.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It doesn't hold up anymore. And I
Yeah,
love
it's-
Will Ferrell.
I do love Vince Vaughn though in Four Christmases. Woman swaddle that baby.
He's so that
is
movie's so great.
No,
When they go to the
yeah.
dad's house, it's amazing.
I will
It's just,
say this.
so many times.
This
I
is
don't know about worse
probably
though.
this is probably a really hot take. I cannot stand any film interpretations of A Christmas Carol or Scrooge.
Yeah,
Wow.
those are I can do
I'm
without
not-
those.
I'm not a
I
fan.
like to because we like to go and like watch it, like watch the play.
Mhm.
You know, like and
I would
maybe
do
not
that.
yearly,
That sounds fun.
maybe not yearly, but they, every other year, and it's so much better than anything you can put to film when they're doing it in front of you. And yeah, I don't like any of those.
So I thought that Fred Claus kind of sucked. Also Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, that one's no
good. Very underwhelming. Also, Four Christmases though, I love Four Christmases.
Yeah,
and
me
my
too,
favorite
man.
part is at the very beginning when they're doing their role playing thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Sean? Yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing, and he goes and she starts to walk away from him, like to act all disinterested, and he's like, "Bitch, I'm talking to you." That shit cracks me up every time.
The
It cracks me up.
National Lampoon's Christmas. I mean, those are classics. Those are classics. Christmas Vacation.
Best lights ever.
Remember I think we talked about this last year, but the Polar Express, the what's his name that does all 7 roles? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank.
Hanks.
Tom Hanks, thank you. It's a weird movie. We talked about this last year. Do you remember?
No,
There's something slightly off about the whole movie. Just it's a little creepy.
it's the animation or something.
It's a weird movie. Yeah.
But it's beautiful though.
It's supposed to be, but and props to him for all the, playing all those roles. That's pretty good. What about what was the one? Jack Frost. Love Jack Frost. I know it's sad. We talked about this last year.
God,
love Jack Frost.
So heart-wrenching.
Just love it though.
Are we talking about the horror film or the one with Michael Keaton?
No, we're talking about the one with not Val Kilmer, but
Michael Keaton.
Michael
Keaton, yeah. Where he dies, he plays the dad, he dies coming home from work and all that. And
yeah, I can't watch that in my 30s, dude. I can't.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Oh well. Last question, and it's not a good last question. Have you guys partaken in any Christmas movie watching yet?
Yeah, we watched a few this weekend.
Nope.
Dan, let's work on that.
Not fully through. We watched Home Alone. We watched my mother-in-law loves the Hallmark Christmas movies. Shout out to Lynn. She loves them, dude. The sappy ones. They're always on.
They're all the same plot.
I know. She
every
loves them.
last one of them.
Hey, Lynn can do whatever she wants. She might even listen to this one day. Shout out to you, Lynn. I love you.
Does she still listen?
She did. So here's a cool story. So I guess I never really went around the horn with me. My mother-in-law and my wife's Aunt Carol were in town. They haven't met the baby yet. There's the other Aunt Terry was supposed to come, Lynn's sister, Catherine's aunt, but their grandpa, I think I mentioned this even a couple weeks ago, their grandpa's not doing too great, although he's starting to make a turn for the better. So shout out to Pop there. But so she didn't come, but my mother-in-law does not like to fly. She doesn't fly. She is the type of woman that if she doesn't have like her sister or Aunt Carol or somebody flying with her, she will take the train that you park your car and like have a room, 24, 48 hour train ride. Like she doesn't like to fly, but she had Aunt Carol. So they flew, and she, let's just say she gets a little assistance going to sleep on airplanes. And she said that she fell asleep and woke up to the Trudge Report podcast in her ear. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it might have given her nightmares too. Honestly,
now what kind of assistance are we talking about?
Talking about Zany bars?
Just a little help there. A little help.
Little guided meditation.
Let's call it that. Let's call it guided meditation. Yes.
There we go.
A little breath work. But they were here. They got an awesome Airbnb near downtown Stewart. It's just so much fun having them here. It's just fun. So pretty much Thursday night through today, I got home at 8:30 tonight with the girls, got unpacked, got them to bed. Catherine's still there with the baby. She'll be along shortly, but had a blast. Shout out to my Humphreys side of the family. They're awesome.
Are you guys going up there?
Tough day in the NFL world, but was it a touchdown, guys?
I didn't see it.
I think it was.
Which game?
Ravens. I think it was.
No, I didn't see it.
But all good on mine. We had a blast.
Are you guys going up north for Christmas or no?
No, we do every other year. So we went last year. So, and it's just too early with the baby to like fly and stuff like that. I mean, it's not too early, but we're just not going to.
I'm going to get on that every other year schedule starting this year. That way you and I are never in the same state for Christmas. I don't want to run into you.
That was dark, dude. That was just mean, Corey.
I'm sorry, Sean.
That was just mean.
What can I do to make it right?
What else we got? Anybody got anything else they want to shout out or discuss real quick?
Shout out to the Texans. They're going to win me $40. That's about it.
Well, let's go.
Nice.
I got a real quick PSA. We've brought this up before, but to all the lovely people out there that don't like to return their shopping carts to the carts corral.
Oh man, the ultimate.
Save us.
That was one of our original episodes, too.
Right?
Oh,
during this wonderful holiday season, save us from your fucking stupidity and your laziness and your obesity and God knows what else. And just walk it back to the corral, man. I mean, that's it. I don't want to go into full scale Phillips rant here, but my God, man, just there's a lot of things we could nitpick about the holiday shopping experience. But that's the biggest one. And I think the biggest
brings out the worst in humans.
I mean, my God,
it's
dude.
so bad.
How hard is it, dude?
I can vividly imagine that early episode of you guys talking about that and me getting so mad as we talked about it.
It
Just
works me
picturing that person. Come on, Fred, put that away.
Yeah. So, yep, that's it. PSA.
All right, good stuff. Listen up closely, people.
Yep.
All right, let's move into it. Recovery. We are a recovery-based podcast, even though Corey is probably getting high in the background most days. But we're going to continue on. We had a guest last week. We had a guest 2 weeks ago, and last week we did some Thanksgiving stuff and just had a few odds and ends recovery stuff last week. We're going to kind of get back on the train that we were on for about 3 or 4 weeks there. And we've been talking about, we talked about war stories and the crazy stuff we did in our addictions and our alcoholism. We talked about some of the barriers to us joining recovery, getting into recovery. We talked about some beliefs or lack thereof. So we're going to kind of continue on that trend. I have a question, and I want to start, Corey, I'll start with you actually. Can the recovery group or nature or even like positive qualities in other human beings or objects or whatever, can that be a higher power, Corey? And maybe that's just too direct of a question. Discuss that, like when people say, "Oh, the tree is my higher power," or whatever my mentor or other people or the recovery group. I want to talk about that for a little bit. Floor is yours, my friend.
It's funny you mention it, Sean, because it's not.
Is it really funny,
but
Corey?
It's not. It's not even
Is it funny
coincidental.
that I mentioned? I'm sorry.
Calm down and let me speak, Sean.
It's crazy that we're at this part in the book, Corey. No, it's not.
Yeah.
We go in this in order every week.
I was at the meeting I brought in tonight to a detox. Where'd you go, dude? Why does he do this when I talk? He just leaves. All right. Anyway,
I had to cough. I didn't want to do it on camera.
Oh. Well, now we know about it. Anyway, at the meeting tonight that I brought into the detox, I had a client not so politely tell me that she didn't believe in the effing God that I was talking about, which is funny because I wasn't even talking about a specific God by any means. If you listen to this podcast for a while, we're pretty open-ended about our views on God or a power greater than ourselves, right? Because that's kind of what was taught to me. Like, it's just I have a chance at sobriety if I'm willing to believe that there's something greater than myself. Now, to your question that I didn't read on the document tonight, and this is actually legit off the cuff because I forgot to read it, but I don't know. Like, can an object be a higher power? No. Like, anything I can dismantle is clearly taken off the table. I don't know where the whole doorknob thing came from. I really don't, and I haven't heard it in many years, thank God. But
probably from PSL.
Dude, we heard it early on all the time. Remember?
I know
all the time, dude.
That?
Coffee mug, all that stuff. This coffee mug can be your higher power.
I was like, what are we talking about? Brass doorknobs or black one? Like what color doorknobs?
What kind of doorknobs here are we talking about?
What kind of doorknobs are we talking? Is this a Schlage?
Keymaster? What are we talking about?
Yeah, what is it?
Is that their point? That are they trying to say anything can be your higher power? It doesn't matter what it is? Is that their I don't know.
Think so.
Okay.
I think so. What I don't think it is like a metaphor for like, here's the door to your future kind of thing. Like, I definitely don't think that's what it is.
Just reach out and touch it, son.
I think it's some lazy ass old timer in recovery sometime way back when was like, oh, you have a problem with your higher power? Then this doorknob can be your higher power.
Oh, great.
I digress.
Yeah.
Glenn.
No, Glenn's a heavy hitter, man.
Nah, Glenn's the opposite, dude.
Yeah.
Fire and
I
brimstone.
So yeah, obviously any inanimate object is off the table and whatever. Now, I'm actually curious as to what you guys say about this. But like when people kind of come around and make the group of people their higher power, like, no, it can't stay that way. You gotta get off of the human aid. But is there not power in the group that can get them by for a little bit? Maybe.
Absolutely.
I think so.
I firmly believe early on it can start people into getting to the notion of it.
But like you said, it's not going to last.
Not going to last. Like, you got to get off the human aid entirely, because I can tell you that the group of drunks that I walked into, most of them aren't here. So that's how powerful they were, you know. It's just, and I'm not saying that to be funny, but like, it's just the reality. So, no, I don't think an object or anything like that can stay. And like, some people say nature or whatever. Here's the thing about nature. I don't know. I mean, I got a fucking pole saw in my garage, and I can go do a number on nature with it. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I can get down with nature, but I understand your point. I do understand your point.
Like,
as
nature
it was explained,
as a whole.
As well as my mentor told me, it can't be anything. You already said it. Dismantle. He said it can't be anything you can break or destroy. You know,
It can't be
that made sense.
I guess nature is one thing that you can sink your teeth into for a while. That tree over there, I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
Not very, a little bit of a flimsy thing.
Flimsy read.
Yeah. That's my answer for Sean.
Good stuff. Greg.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with some of that kind of stuff.
You're not.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, then I'll disrespectfully agree with you. So
that Santa's looking
definitely, like Sean or like Dan said, very early on, dude. Like, because if I walked into the rooms of recovery and there was a giant crucifix hanging on the wall and there were people trying to pass me out Bibles and pray over me and get me to speak in tongues, I'm out the door. I'm gone. I don't want anything to do with that. And you know, that was early on, and that was where I was at. Right. And this whole deal is about meeting people where they're at. Especially for the newcomer. I think that early on, especially if you've got people that are averse to the idea of God, spirituality, religion, whatever, however you want to term that, then yes, that kind of stuff is okay. And as long as the idea is there that hey, this is a spiritual journey. This is not you get a certificate of graduation. You're done with our program. Congratulations. Now go back out in the world. It is a continuous growth of my spiritual condition, right? And what God means to me and what that is for me. So, and again, you know, selfishness and self-centeredness, but it is very much an individual program as far as this part of it is concerned. It doesn't have to be. There's a lot of, as you come to find in recovery, a lot of very like-minded people, and a lot of people do end up going to, you know, I'm going to start joining a church with this congregation, or, you know, whatever the case may be. However, I think whatever is needed at early on, and I think that for some of this stuff, you can take, you know, maybe like the greater meaning out of it. So yes, is the one singular tree? I don't know. You know, I know for me personally, very early on, what I went out to the beach down there in Florida, and it was the middle of hurricane season, and the ocean was pretty wild that day. And that was like, for me, that was a beginning. I stood up to my knees, and I felt that current, and I felt that stuff like pushing and pulling me. And I'm like, okay, like, and I had a little meditative experience right there, in the ocean. And that was the beginnings for me. But what that represented to me was like, man, there's just this whole vast thing out here that makes me feel so small, and like such a small part of a greater whole. And I think too, like things like, if you look at, and I guess this is a reach or a little bit far out there, but like if you look at the tree, look at the structure of the tree and how it mirrors the human nervous system. You guys ever seen that before? How
I've
like,
seen it, yeah.
And like, and to me, when I think about that and I look at that, I'm like, okay, well, there's a grand design right there. So when we talk about like there's things in God's world that are not coincidence, it's all part of a grand design. If that isn't the perfect picture of what that is, then I don't know what more evidence you would need in that particular scenario. But I think too, what our program of recovery does is it, you know, hopefully when we're at this point where we where we need to talk about a power greater than ourselves, then we realize that human power is not enough for us, right? And if we looking back at our past, honestly, human power is not enough for us. But can it be a start? Like Corey said, like, is there power in that room of people? I know in the room of people that I ended up in, like, there's power there. You know, there's people that were tapped into it. And if that was all I needed at the first was those couple little breadcrumbs to, okay, I'm gonna follow what these people are doing and let that be the start of my journey, then hey, who am I to? I can scoff a little bit at it, but who am I to get in the way of it, any of it, especially if that's what it takes for a newcomer, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good points. Good points. Danny P.
I love all your guys' points, and yeah, I was told early on too when I started to mentor other people that you don't always have to get them in by doing things a certain way. You know what I mean? So like basically saying that, you know, if they want to believe in this tree for until you start getting into our book and start teaching them, you know what I mean, and reading with them, and where they become to realize that they, you know, it can't be anything of self. You know, that you can sit down with somebody and they have this idea that they believe in the fan that's in front of me right now, and that's okay for now because that's keeping them there right now, and it's on me as to do my part to teach them, like, this is how you recover. This is how you find peace. This is how you find serenity. You know, for me early on, the serenity prayer is really the whole God thing, and believing in a power greater than myself was very easy because, like I said, I grew up Catholic, and, you know, I had a belief in God, you know, the whole entire time. But when I first got sober, I remember my mom sent me, I used to wear all the time a necklace with the serenity prayer on it, you know, and that was my first. It was before I was getting into work with my mentor and stuff like that and doing all that stuff. But I would grab that thing and I would say that, and that was like my coping mechanism. I know I hate that word, but that was my coping mechanism early on. To, you know, like, things are all going to be okay. You know, that I need to understand that I am the problem, and I need to believe in something greater than myself. You know, and just being in the rooms, and also just, you know, talking with other people and stuff, that to me it's like a broad stroke of liberalism. You can believe whatever you want and whatever you want to be, you know, but it's so true, because if that person, if that's what helps them at that point in time, meeting them halfway, it's the same thing, man. You know, if that's what helps them at that point in time, and that's going to keep them alive for one more day, where they might sit down and they might read with me the next day, to where we get to a point of recovery, it's always worth it. You know, you can believe whatever you want, but then, like Corey said, sustainability. You know what I mean? There's going to be zero sustainability in it. But if that's early on, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I think there's immense power in the group. You know, immense power in the group, because that's what I did. Is I saw it in people like you, Sean. You know, like that was my first, like, seeing stuff coming to life. And, you know, I'll always remember for like my whole entire life, man, you saying that the things that we read will eventually happen in your life and will become part of your life, you know, and that's what happens, and like all those cool things. So I think there's immense power in the group. You know, if people can believe in the group rather than doorknobs, that'd be amazing. I think there's better luck in that, you know, but yeah, no, but early on, like Corey said, there's no sustainability in believing in the oak tree outside for, you know, the next 6 years, you know, to me anyways.
I thank you for that. I want to make it clear to our listeners, and we've talked about this. I think, Corey, you even said it earlier about how kind of open-ended we are with the higher power thing. And, you know, the program that we all work, and many other recovery programs like it, and even not like it, they are not religious in nature. Some of them might be. You can definitely find recovery programs that are religious in nature. The ones we choose to be around are not religious in nature, and I think that's very important. My mentor told me that my religious convictions, if I had any, did not belong in the recovery groups. That was a one-on-one conversation with him, or with somebody else I was mentoring, or just a conversation I'm having with someone, or in a small group, but not in the overall recovery group. That is technically an outside issue in the groups we go. Do people do it? Absolutely. It's bound to happen. But the greatest line I've ever heard about God, higher power, spirit of the universe, is that our program is unapologetically about God. we are just not here to tell any individual how they must believe or who they must believe in or what they must believe in. It is a journey that each individual must settle for themselves. And it's also a journey that no one can take for me or spare me of if I'm to remain sober. Those are some of the most valuable words I've ever heard in my recovery. That being said, and I agree. We've talked about it. I agree. I'm out on the doorknob stuff. But I guess if the fan in the room and the constant motion is like the only thing you can focus on in those first few weeks, fine. If it keeps you coming back, really, and I mean that genuinely. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. If it keeps you coming back, I agree. Some of the greatest lessons, spiritual lessons I've been taught were by people that were very much spirit of the universe, nature type believers. And it wasn't so much like I know we made a joke. It wasn't so much like a singular tree, but it was what that tree signified, right? The roots, the branches. Life. Greg, you alluded to it, the central nervous system. That was a great point. Mm-hmm. I 100, like a lot of Native American and indigenous cultures believe more so in nature and that kind of thing rather than a traditional deity or whatever. I do, however, think, and not on the sustainability model, I think we've all known people that we've been very close to that stayed physically sober for many years and then eventually relapsed, and some got sober again, some didn't, some died, some didn't. And some of those people were always, for lack of a better way to put it, changing their belief, which I want to be clear, my belief has changed over the years. It has cultivated, it has grown over the years. But what I mean specifically is 1 month they're Jesus freaks, religious nuts. The next month they're Native American, tribal, this and that. The next month they're hippies, and you see my point. And I don't think that's very good or healthy long-term, because there's nothing like solid there. There's nothing to really grow on because it's changing so much. And I do think that if we can sometimes do the newcomer slight disservice by not telling them the truth in a tactful and respectful way right away or early on. It doesn't mean we're trying to change their beliefs or tell them they can't believe in whatever they're believing. I do think the group has immense power, and it can definitely keep a person in the rooms and in recovery for a time where hopefully they can get with a mentor and start going through the actual real recovery work. And I'll end with this. My mentor told me, you can borrow my God for a while, but you better effing get your own. And he said the word, and it was like one of those things that just transpired. So real good conversation on that, guys. I do appreciate that.
And one thing I was going to throw in there too at the end, because you kind of reminded me of it, but we've all seen what happens when groups collectively have a little bit of self-will run riot. Mm-hmm. And then, next thing you know, a group of very well-meaning people and some of the best people you've ever met or whatever, the whole group is off the rails.
Right. Because you're absolutely right.
The actions of a few. So, yeah, definitely a good point to be made there.
Absolutely right. What, this is one's interesting, and I'll circle back and Danny, I'll start with you since you were the last one to go. How do we reconcile the idea of a higher power with any previous or past religious experiences, both good and bad? So to put that another way, how did any religious practices growing up or lack thereof influence our ideas of God and higher power today?
See, I mean, for me, I'm gonna clip towards probably the last question into this too, because for me, it was two stark differences of belief and faith. That was my biggest setback, is that I always thought that I believed in God, so I'm good. When I first started coming to recovery meetings, I was like, oh, God, I know this, you know what I mean? I'm good. Like, that's all I need to know. Like, I'll be all right. And And my mentor, we started doing the work and stuff. And I realized that, selfishness, self-centeredness, self-seeking, all these things, I had a belief in something, but there was no boots to the ground. You know what I mean? There was no into action. There was zero into action. You know, and that's what, like I said, like early on, doing the serenity prayer, and that was putting that into action for me to have a belief in a power greater than myself. You know, to where I can get that ease, and I, you know, can do those things to where I don't worry. And for me, like a moment that I had with me is I was getting divorced actually in rehab. I was getting divorced and served papers and all that stuff, you know, and that was one thing where my mom sent me that, you know, that serenity prayer, that chain and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, like there's nothing I can do to change this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And to let things go. But, yeah, for me, it was just, you know, it really was just simple, man. Belief and faith. It was a stark difference. And when I started putting faith into things and boots to the ground, I could feel it in my life.
Yeah. Very good. GA?
I just think with this, we're starting anew, and we're hopefully becoming a new person with a changed way. So my past, either negative or positive beliefs, had gotten me to the point where I was at, where I walked into a recovery group after, you know, leaving a treatment center and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. All of my actions, my behaviors, my ways of living and lying and all of that had amounted to getting me essentially nowhere in life.
Right.
Right. So I have to clear out that stuff and open up to have some new experiences in my life. That's not to say I didn't come in with like a weird chip on my shoulder. And after sitting down with a mentor and reading through some of this stuff, some of the literature and everything like that, or at least up to this point, it's like, you know, the biggest question I had to ask myself is why? Why am I hanging on to all this why am I hanging on to a resentment for God that, you know, at that particular moment in time, like I couldn't even tell you what that was, you know? Am I doing it to seem cool and edgy for myself or what? Like what's the deal and why can't I let that go? And just me asking myself those questions help me to let that stuff go, help me to realize like that stuff has got to be in the past. It doesn't mean that it's gone forever. It doesn't mean that it never happened to begin with, but all that has to be left in the past if I'm going to make room for a new experience and grow into a new and hopefully better human being.
Yeah. Good stuff. Corey?
Say the question again.
Past religious experiences, both good and bad, how did it help shape our idea of God and higher power today and when we got to recovery?
Right. So the only real like religious experiences I had before getting sober was I would occasionally talk to my mom about God and stuff like that. And at the time she practiced a Christian religion or something. I practiced loosely. I don't know, studied something. And I remember like people would come by the house and like read with her and stuff, and I would sit
lay
in
hands on you.
sometimes.
I'm just kidding, sorry.
No.
I'd come to the back room, son.
Yeah. I'd fucking piece them up with these little hands. So like I had an idea of like the afterlife at a semi young age, like what was being taught to me in that regard, and just that it was nothing but perfect, you know, basically. Stuff like that. So I still carry that with me a little bit to a degree. One thing I kind of took from that specific denomination, I don't know if I'm right about this, but I'm pretty sure they don't really believe in a like physical hell. I don't really either.
Can you say what denomination it was?
Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Your mom was a Jehovah's Witness?
She studied with them for a little while. I don't know how long, maybe a year, maybe two. I don't know.
Alyssa grew up at Jehovah's.
Yeah. That's why when they come by the house, Gabby hates me, but when they come by the house, I'll go out and talk with them and just, I mean, you want to talk about God for a little while? Sure. I got time. And I've gotten their phone numbers. I don't give them my phone number. I don't want to be really
just
bothered.
don't say happy birthday or Merry
Gabby's.
Christmas.
My wife gave them her phone number once, the ones that came to our doors, and they didn't leave her alone for a while.
No holidays or birthdays.
I go, listen, I'll take your phone number, but you're not having mine. So
I'll call you if I need anything.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Jim. But yeah, they're nice, whatever. They don't bother me at all.
Yeah, they're fine.
And but yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't believe in hell. I think they just think that when you die, if you don't enter that perfect world, you just kind of turn to dust or something like that.
In the wind.
Yeah, they excommunicate anybody. Like if there's people in the family that are Jehovah's and they become non-Jehovah's, they'll excommunicate and can't talk to them. Sisters, brothers, everything.
Well, that's some weird shit right there. So I'm glad I don't do that. But
yeah, it's
I mean,
wild.
Half of America's sisters and brothers probably don't talk to each other either for one reason or another. But
true.
In Alabama, they get married.
Roll Tide, baby.
No.
Roll Tide wasn't rolling last night, boys. Go Dogs.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I still carry with me today, I think, most of the time, that I will hopefully end up in that perfect world with everybody else being perfect with God. So
nice.
What, Sean?
Huh?
What?
Nothing.
He's just stunned by all the perfects you just mentioned.
Perfect. Hey, also real quick, and I meant to say this at the beginning of that. I want to mention that person earlier that I mentioned that at the detox that was like, I don't believe in that effing God. Also, further on in her share, started talking about how she believed in the universe and like the underlying totality of things, basically. And I was like, oh, see,
you do believe in something.
Believe in something. Oh my God.
Very good. I had similar. I was raised in a very organized religion. I'm Catholic. I'll say it. My mom's Catholic. She's still very devout. I respect her immensely for how devout she is. I had a wonderful upbringing with God. I did not grow up with the idea of the mean, vengeful God. I always grew up with an idea of a loving, all-powerful creator God. There were prayers from my childhood that brought me comfort as a child that I would have periods of my life where I would say at night or in the morning, and they brought me comfort. Those same prayers still bring me a lot of comfort today. I still sometimes say a lot of those rote prayers that I learned as a kid. Danny, it's funny. You had brought up the Serenity Prayer. I did the same thing in my early sobriety. There were times where I would just repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't know if it was the cathartic nature of repeating it, memorizing it, or just the power it had in it, or all of the above. But it was that was important for me early on, some of those early squirrely days. But I had a good upbringing. I say this, like, the idea of belief in God was not a struggle. The idea of having faith was a different story. It didn't make my belief in God didn't make the turning of my life over to that God any easier, though. And that's what I always stress to people I work with. Like, that didn't make it any easier. But as we'll get to as we move along, and partly in this episode, but in future episodes, we'll kind of detail what that really means, the belief versus the faith thing. But no, I had a good upbringing. Real quick, funny story about the Jehovah's Witness. I one day answered the door in no t-shirt. I just had basketball shorts on. I am not, the most shapely individual. I understand that. I'm the women in my life love me dearly for the way I look, but I had no shirt.
I've seen you with no shirt on, and there's plenty of shapes, dude.
Oh, thank you. But it was an older woman, and then it was like this young girl who couldn't have been more than like 22, and like I could just see her eyes, like she was a little uncomfortable. I had no shirt on, and I'm just talking away. And then Grace was probably, I don't know, like maybe 2 years old, maybe, and she had a dress on. And somehow Grace took her underwear off. So she just comes running up. She stands next to me and just lifts her dress up. It was just like the funniest, like, because they were definitely a little, like a little uncomfortable there. But God bless them, man. They're just doing the Lord's work. I got no hate for them. So good stuff. All right. Last question I want to get to tonight. I want each of us to talk about our personal moment or moments or time of our sobriety where we turned our will and our lives over to this God or higher power, where we really truly made that next step, that kind of like what was, all of it, what was any details you want to put in, and I'll kick it off real quick. So I was probably about 9 months sober, and I was at the part of my recovery work where I was starting to make restitution and amends to people. I was starting to make some reciprocity for some of the harms I had done, and trying to make those things right, paying some money back, and all that stuff. And I know, if you know our recovery program, that's a little bit later in the program than the question I just asked. But I was in a church, actually, that my friend had continued to get me to try to go to. And we heard some testimony from some people, and it was just really awesome testimony. And the music was just really awesome that day. And it sounds as corny as it was, but I was filled with the Spirit, man. I felt this full body euphoria from my head to my toes. I was like, God, and maybe, you want to get scientific, maybe it was just the vibrations of all the music, but aren't vibrations really just God's language anyways, kind of thing. And I was just, man, I was lit up from the floor up, and my experience, my feeling, my euphoria, the moment I had was as real as this table in front of me and the computer I'm speaking to you on. It was hard, and it was real. And I didn't hear God's voice from the clouds in that moment, but what I did was I had this conviction in my gut, in my heart, in my soul, that my job was to continue on the path I was on so that I could help others. Like, that was it for me. That was the moment that I realized, okay, or was like, I am all in. And I had already kind of been all in prior to that. Like, I was doing the deal. I was going to a lot of meetings. I was involved, doing service, working my recovery program, reading the literature, taking all the the things that we were doing, taking it seriously, having some changes. I had already started to change. I wasn't obsessing about alcohol and drugs. Like, I had some freedom and some peace in my life. But at around 9 months sober, that was when I really, truly was like, I am all in, and I want to serve God, and I want to be his instrument of peace. And that was my moment. And I will say that this decision to turn things over, I actually formally did it months prior to that. And I meant it. It was genuine. But for whatever reason, God saw fit that in that moment, at 9+ months sober, in that church, that day, that Sunday, was like, that was it, man. It was set in stone that day. So I'll circle back to you, Corey, first.
This is hard. There's a couple instances that come up. One is before I get sober, to be honest. And was I physically on the path of God's will, and you could tell? No, because I was very much steeped deep in addiction. But the moment that I got honest with a friend, I probably told the story before on this pod, so I won't go into it deeply, but I essentially had asked a friend to help me with my homeless problem, at least for the night. And my plan was to figure out a way to get her to give me money and keep going, keep getting high. And I credit it to God that I truly had an overwhelming sense of remorse and horror before I met up with that person, and just weird feelings, just despair, really. And came to the fork in the road, you got to do something. So when I met up with that person, I ended up getting brutally honest, and that inevitably led me to rehab in Florida, and here I am. But but that moment that clicked, that wasn't me. That wasn't, I keep going. I keep lying. I keep deceiving. You know what I mean? That's Corey's will. But what happened that night wasn't my will. I don't think. The other instance that comes up is we used to go to the beach a lot, and there's a part in our literature that talks about evidence of God, kind of. And it's one line that by itself doesn't make any sense, but it says, "Who then made all this?" And I can remember being at the beach. I don't even know if it was like a specific night or an instance, but like maybe a couple times this happened. But it's very easy when you're at the beach at night to look around and think, who then made all this? Like, what else? You know, Big Bang. Who made the Big Bang? You know, that's my thing. If science created all this, who made science? You know, that kind of thing. And that was another moment. And then, yeah, kind of like you said, Sean, like I didn't have like a burning bush, like white light experience necessarily, but there came a day where I just realized that like by doing these things, like I hadn't resisted in so long, you know, months into my sobriety, I hadn't resisted what was happening in life, meaning I was just going with the flow, just doing the things that people told me to do that were sober, you know what I mean? Something like that. And like you said, like carrying on the path that I was on. I was doing that, and one day I realized I hadn't thought about drinking or not drinking in a long time, and it almost on a deeper level realized that I had been sitting in my halfway house for a good while without like the obsessing need to text somebody and figure out plans and this and that. It was on Channel Drive, Dan.
Yeah.
And just like in there, I don't know if you were working or what, I don't know where everybody was, but I was just not concerned with all the happenings and stuff. And I just realized that I was peaceful for once, you know? That was brand new, at least intellectually. So,
Yeah.
It keeps happening, you know? It keeps happening.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Greg?
I think about 2 weeks before I got sober, much like Corey, I had a similar experience, but I was sitting in the methadone clinic in downtown Cleveland, and I hadn't gone to sign up for that ever, you know, and it was getting to the point where I was trying everything I possibly could to stop. And I sat there for like 6 hours doing an intake appointment in this little room and in this little waiting room. And it was just, for whatever reason, like I kept getting looked over and all that kind of stuff, filling out paperwork. And I just got sick. I got real sick. I needed a fix. And I remember asking in that moment, like, God help me, like, tell me what to do. This is crazy. And I left and I went and got high, you know, and I realized now, looking back, that, you know, if I hadn't done that, then I probably would have been, if I would have made it out alive, I would have been a walking zombie for God knows how many years. I wouldn't have met any of you guys. I wouldn't have moved to Florida. I wouldn't have done all that, you know. So that's like a little God moment for me that I'd love to remember. But about 5 months into my sobriety, I was at the point in recovery where I was in doing the work and doing a lot of writing and uncovering a lot of stuff about myself and the things that I had done to other people and whatnot. And I had already said some prayers with a mentor, and we had talked about what it meant to turn my life and my will over to God. And I could say the words and I could even feel something, but I can't sit here and honestly say, you know, that early on that I was really doing it, you know. And we went on this retreat. I think all four of us were present on that one. I don't know. That was October of 2016, but we went on that retreat up in the hills of South Carolina, and, you know, going to Happy Place, for which for our listeners, our Pretty Place, I'm sorry, not Happy Place. It was my happy place, but it was, I was very happy that day.
That's a different place, Greg. That's a different place.
Yes. This beautiful spot called Pretty Place is up on top of a mountain, and it is a chapel that is literally carved into the side of a mountain. And it's just beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. I know I don't have to tell you guys, but for any of our listeners that haven't been there, if you're ever in Lawrence, South Carolina, or them parts, them whereabouts, head on up there because it's gorgeous. But we'd go out there every morning. There was a little bit of talking. There was a little bit of praying. There was a little bit of music. And it was super early in the morning. And even at 5 months in Florida, my blood had thinned already. And the October mornings in the mountains were very cold. and it was freezing out there, as I'm sure you guys recall. But yeah, man, I still to this day can't accurately and with enough weight describe what happened to me out there, but it was something special, and it was, I can remember just asking God and trying to have like a conversation in my head with God, like, if you're really out there, if you're real, if this whole thing is legit, point me in the right direction, show me the way. What can I do to do better and be better? And yeah, like in those moments, man, like I had like I don't want to call it a white light, but like kind of like Sean said, like I could feel something going on in my body that was not, it wasn't, nobody was touching me. Nobody was nudging me. There was no like heat explosion in the outside. It was cold as shit. And I was warm from within. I felt comforted. I was insanely emotional for no reason. Other than the fact that the music is beautiful for sure. But it was, I still can't explain what happened, but my body was experiencing something and there was no external stimuli for it in the most scientific way possible. So
good stuff. Oh yeah. I remember those days. Danny P, take us home, brother.
All right. Dude, Amazing Grace, man. Greg, still, like, when I hear Amazing Grace, I'm right back there. I'm sitting in the aisles, man. Like, seriously, that's amazing, man. Yeah, just thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, that's one of mine. I mean, I got 3 moments, I'd say. Doing work with my mentor by the water and giving away all my stuff and then going home and resting my head afterwards. And I mean, that was my first in recovery where I was like, it was real, man. You know what I mean? Like, I felt that, and like giving that stuff away and going home and like, I felt that, man. I really felt that. And then my second one was definitely going to Pretty Place, man. The first time going there and just sitting there, it was like freaking, we woke up like 4:30 in the morning.
So early.
Oh, so early, man. And just sitting there, and the cold made it that much better. Like it really did, just sitting there. And like, I still remember how honored I felt when, I forgot who it was, like asked me to do a reading, in front of everybody and stuff like that. Like, and there's like, I don't know, everything, it just clicked together, man. You know what I mean? Like these are my people, like really honestly, like these are my people. And sitting there and watching that sunrise, I mean, if people can do it, it's the most majestic thing you'll ever experience in life. It really honestly is. There's nothing that has come close to it. Like it was just utterly amazing. And then the third time was when going back to Pretty Place when I moved to Ohio, because I went there in flux about the fact that Alyssa was pregnant and she had to go back to Ohio, and I have this life set up in Florida and I'm sober and everything's going good. I got a great job and all these things. And I just knew, like I did before I even got there, I just knew I just need to get to the mountain. And then when I come home, I'll have the answer. And I did. I felt it. As soon as I came back, I felt it. Like as soon as we were coming back, I already felt it. And like, it's like, I'm moving to Ohio, and like those are my 3 moments that were just like, this shit's real, man. It's real.
So God told
That's
you to
good
break
stuff.
my heart, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah, you just up and left me.
pretty much. Yeah.
I've had the absolute privilege of seeing a lot of you men, the 3 of you, but others included, have some major experiences up on that mountain. I've had them myself, so it was very cool. Mary's music.
Mm-hmm.
So
when are we going back?
yeah,
October.
not soon enough.
Yeah.
we could talk to Chris Redding.
Yeah.
Anyways, good stuff, guys. Well, listen, we'll put a pin in it here. Got a lot more on this topic that we'll get to in the ensuing weeks. So thank you for just pouring your guys' heart out as always, and being real and being vulnerable and being honest. So shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your mailbag requests for topics, questions, and comments to any of these handles. Remember, we are all here. If anyone wants to talk about recovery and our experiences, or if you are struggling with some form of addiction. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night, God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. See you all next week. Cheers.